Barajaya Radio.
Welcome back. My name is Alton Beckett, also known as Big Al. I'm the HNIC to this podcast that you just joined, which is Let Me Say Something. Boy, we got a lot to talk about today. Okay, first of all, I want to express the pain that I feel for the parents of the victims, for parents and families of the victims of the mass shooting that recently happened. Okay, in Buffalo, New York on May 14th of 2022, and Uvalde, Texas on May 24th of 2022. It just happened just within 10 days apart. It's pretty amazing. It really is. Really pretty amazing. You know, in Buffalo, 10 people of color were murdered, and in Uvalde, there were 21 people that were killed. Of the 21 people that were killed, 18 of them that were slaughtered were children around 10 years, 10, 9, I think 8, 9, 10 years of age. It's a terrible thing, you know. And make no mistake, this is an American problem. Okay, we're one of the few countries that has that where this happens as frequently as it does. I mean, no one else. There's no other country that I could find that has something that goes on like this as often. So, you know. So make no mistake, this is an American problem. So your question would be, well, Al, so why hasn't anything been done? Why does it keep happening? You know, and that's what we're going to try to answer today. You know, and you may not like the answer. Okay, so first of all, when they talk about a mass shooting, the definition of a mass shooting is simply the shooting with one or it could be multiple individuals, but when they say mass, they're talking about a minimum of 4 people. Okay, a minimum of 4 people. So, using that definition, there have been 213 mass shootings as of this year. Okay, believe it or not, 213 mass shootings this year. In last year, in 2021, there were 693 mass shootings. Okay, and why hasn't Congress done anything about it? Well, keep in mind, they've been talking about this since 1984, I believe. You know, 84, 85, you know, they've been talking about it for a long time, but no one has done anything about it. Okay, and there are a couple of reasons for that. Most congressmen, well, at least the most powerful ones are the ones that have been in Congress the longest, okay, including your president, Joe Biden, because that's your president. Okay, they are deep in the pockets of the National Rifle Association, also known as the NRA. All righty, and for you guys that don't believe me, the salary, the people that have worked in Congress, they don't make much money as far as salary-wise for what they do. You know, they don't work a whole lot of days now, mind you, but compared to what they get paid, these guys are living very lavish luxury lifestyles. Some of them have had that lifestyle before they came in, but a lot of them, like Maxine Waters, I see Maxine Waters was on welfare, and now all of a sudden she has a mansion. How in the heck does that happen? How does that happen? Okay, and well, what happens is these people are getting pools, addition to their houses. They're getting trips, vacations. They're getting separate apartments. They're getting all kinds of things from not only just the National Rifle Association, but others as well. And so these associations are very powerful, and they contribute to the congressman's campaign, and they do it in a way they give millions sometimes, and they do it in a way where it can't be found or no one really questions that. Everybody knows what's going on, but they just don't question it. They just let it go because it benefits them. So that's one reason. The second reason is the right to bear arms is in the Constitution, and it's in the form of the Second Amendment. Okay, and the Second Amendment goes like this: a well-regulated militia being necessary to security of a free state, the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, as far as that's now, Congress would have to add an addendum to the Constitution to change that. But if they added any type of addendum that they add would actually restrict your right to bear arms. And if they do that, there's going to be a lot of protests. There's going to be a lot of people upset. There's going to be a lot of people trying, it's going to be bad. And for 40 plus years, no one wanted to confront that, and that hasn't changed at all. That hasn't changed at all. Okay, the NRA is one of the most powerful associations in the country. The Second Amendment, is one of the most is an amendment that was thought of because at the time they wrote the amendment back in the day, everybody was worried about everyone was worried about Britain coming over and taking over their land, taking out. So they wanted to make sure that they had a militia there, and they wanted to make sure that individual citizens could defend themselves from the British Army and French Army as well. So that's how that came about. Okay, is it necessary now? I don't know about that. Okay, there are a lot of people that are smarter than me that can answer that question. But the point is, it's in the Constitution. Okay, and we can't just go around changing the Constitution all willy-nilly just to suit us. We have to. So there are so many interpretations of this particular amendment, and that's one of the reasons why nothing has been done. The first reason is a lot of congressmen have invested a lot, have received a lot of money from the NRA, and they owe the NRA. The overall thing, though, is that it will be a constitutional amendment. It will take a constitutional amendment to do that, and the chances of them getting a constitutional amendment to change it is almost nil. So I don't understand why they keep saying something has to be done. I saw Biden on TV the other night saying somebody do something. Somebody do something. Joe, you are the somebody that should be doing something. Okay, and just so you know, Joe, I know you're kind of sleepy there, but you're the one that should be doing something. What Congress wants to do is they want to raise the age to own a gun from 18 to 21, which is entirely stupid and doesn't stop anything. And I know the guys, recently the people that have been doing the shooting have been 18, 19, 20 years old. I get that. Okay, I get that. But the 18-year-old guy that killed that was in Uvalde, he bought the gun just a few days ago. Bought the rifle a few days ago. He bought the rifle a few days ago. Before he did that, he just bought a rifle and then he put it in Facebook what he's going to do, etc. And he did it. But the question is, well, when you raise the age, that'll stop that from happening. Well, I don't know if it will stop it or not. There are a lot of people that are being killed that you don't know about. The only reason why we know about this now is because it's where it's happening in schools. It's happening in people are getting murdered in massage parlors, in churches. People are getting murdered in malls, all over the place. I mean, and that's why we're hearing about it now. But just so you know, there are people being murdered on the streets. Multiple people being murdered on the streets. There are children being shot while they're sitting in their homes. A bullet comes right through the house and kills a kid. You don't hear about that. Congress did not move one iota when all this stuff was happening. And your president, Jim Crow Joe, he even campaigned to end gun violence, but he's done nothing about it. Even when he campaigned about it, he must have known that he couldn't do anything about it because he's too deep in the pocket. But it sounds good, so everybody say, hey, that's a great guy. Let's get him in office. Let's let him do what he does. This is great. When Obama was in office, he did absolutely nothing. Now get this. In 2008, when he got in office, there were 17, due to mass killings, these were 17 dead people, 24 were injured. In 2009, his second term, there were 9 people dead, 39 people injured. In 2010, 9 dead, 2 injured, and then and so forth and so on. 2012, 71 people were killed, 80 people were injured, 35 people dead, 13 injured. There was a couple of times where he went out to these locations and said he's going to do something, and he did absolutely nothing about it. Okay, and as I told you, there's not much that he can do as a president, and there's not much that Congress will want to do because they are far deep in the pockets of so many of those types of groups. So. And the other thing too is that they also changed the law. They're trying to make that into domestic domestic terrorism. so that they can say, hey, listen, this is domestic terrorism. You used a gun, you wounded some people, or you threatened some people, etc. We're going to put you in jail. Okay, and as of right now, domestic terrorism is not a federal crime. I'll say it again: domestic terrorism is not a federal crime. Now, if you kill somebody, that's the crime. You kill somebody, but they won't accuse you of being a terrorist. Okay, if you use a gun on somebody, they'll get you for getting the gun, but they won't accuse you of being a terrorist. Okay, so it's kind of a weird law there. It's kind of a it's kind of a gray area, and it's irresponsible that the Congress has not done anything about that as of yet. And once again, I don't think the will is there. The media is pushing this a lot. The media decides what you know about what you don't know about. The media is the one that's telling you that this is wrong and who these people are. So that's kind of scary as far as I'm concerned. So and like I said, when Obama was in office, and you all know I call Mr. Obama, call Obama Mr. Do Nothing, because he didn't do a doggone thing while he was in office. He didn't address the issue. You have the president, your president, trying to put a ban on assault weapons, which he cannot do. Well, I take that back. He can do it, but once again, it won't get done. It won't get done. It's astonishing to me how we compare to the other so-called industrial countries when it comes to mass killing. If you look at England, the one that closely related to ours, England they have virtually none of that happening. And one of the reasons why is England has banned guns, period. My daughter, who lived in England for a lot of years, she said if you walk around for a letter opener and they find out, they'll put you in jail for a letter opener. I said, what? She said they'll put you in jail for a letter opener because it's a weapon that can hurt somebody. You cannot have a weapon if you're walking around the UK. Okay? She said even if you have a fork. Why? Because a fork can hurt somebody. England has banned all weapons. You cannot walk down the street with a weapon. If you have a fork and you take it out because you want to eat something, you will get arrested. It sounds ridiculous, but there's nobody being killed with a fork or a gun or anything else for that matter. So I'm assuming that it works. Okay, but it does sound ridiculous. And if that's something that we need to do, it's something we need to look at. But once again, with the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, that's going to stop everything. It really will stop everything. The fact that we don't have a plan for any of this, and also the fact that we decide, how we look at it. In other words, there are certain people that get shot by groups. You driving down Compton, 6 of your buddies get shot and killed. No one says anything. There's nothing. Congress doesn't say, oh, that's horrible. We've got to stop this and stop these gangs. No one says anything. That's a city problem. You're sitting in the park and all of a sudden some kids in Chicago get killed, or they have a weekend where I want to say 22 people were killed. I think just over half of those were children. Nothing. Congress said nothing. No, the media said nothing about it. So the media is kind of picking and choosing, when they cover this and how they cover it. And as far as I'm concerned, it's pretty much irresponsible. It's absolutely irresponsible, And like I said, this is a subject matter that nobody wants to talk about. It's not the most glamorous subject matter to talk about. It really isn't, But when you have children that are being killed for absolutely no reason, I'm here in Virginia for some, if you guys don't know, and it's happened in Virginia Beach. I think it was 3 years ago. Okay, so in Virginia Beach, we had it 3 years ago. So we have to make sure that this doesn't happen. You have to make sure that it doesn't happen. All right, it's and I got to admit though, I got to admit now, the previous administration with Trump, he addressed it. He said this shouldn't happen. He tried to address it, man. And he got crucified for it. He was crucified. He said, now there were a lot of things he proposed, but the one that the media took out was the fact that he wanted to put arms. He wanted to, how did he put it? He wanted to arm teachers with weapons. That wasn't entirely true. What he wanted to do was he wanted to take teachers that had a background in security, military, people that were used to carrying guns and handling guns, put them in separate training for situations like this. So they would get police training. That's what he wanted. They would get police training, and then they will be able to carry a gun openly, okay, around the school. And they will be the only ones that will be able to carry a gun. The media made it sound like he wanted all teachers to have guns and everybody, it's like the Wild Wild West, people are shooting, etc. But that wasn't the case. You have to go through a certain training. You have to pass that training. But before that, your background had to be military, police, etc. And also he wanted to make a way so that the military people that were going, let's say you were in the military 20 years and when you get out, you're 38, 39, 40 years old, etc. He was going to pay to have those people become teachers if they wanted to, and then if they became teachers, they also had to go through this additional training from the Department of Justice. Not a bad idea when you talk about it like that. It really isn't. And the ironic thing is that everyone says that's not the answer. I got a brother who's a teacher in Boston. He goes, that's stupid. That's not the answer. Yet and still, he tells me about schools that are in Boston that have security officers already. And those guys are handling business. And there's nothing going on there. There's nothing happening there that they can't handle. So if it's good for one school, why would it not be good for all schools? I can't answer that question. Maybe you can. If you can, let me know. They got on Trump for trying to address this problem because he kept saying that it's not fair to have children being killed and nobody doing anything about it. He employed the governors to be stronger to pass state laws to stop this from happening because he knew that he could not get a national law as far as gun control is concerned. He knew this, so he employed the states to do that, and some states did do that. California has one of the toughest gun control laws that you could have, and it has reduced, but it's only reduced those shootings by about 7%. Okay, and I'm talking about mass shootings, things like that. 4 people on board, about 7%. So it hasn't done much. I mean, it's reduced. It hasn't gone up. In other words, so that's a good sign. It has not gone up. So the question is, does gun control work? Well, the answer is yeah. How much that it works, that's what we don't know. There are a ton of states that are looking at this right now. Virginia is one of them. Virginia is one of those states that are looking at it. They're kind of regulated. They're regulating gun control, but they're not actually policing it necessarily. So if you can still go get a gun because Virginia is one of 2 states that does not have gun control. Okay, that does not have any gun control policy. All righty, and by the way, I forgot to tell you, this is Powered by Virginia. If you want to give us a call, it's 757-964-9367. If I forgot to say that, 757-964-9367. Trying to restrict people from protecting themselves is a battle that I don't think can be won because I want to protect myself. Now I don't have a gun, but I'm thinking about getting one because you never know. You just never know. People are getting crazy out there, and I'm not as young as I used to be. Maybe not as tough as I used to be. So I like to have something to speak for me instead of me trying to do it myself. Okay, so I'm certainly giving some serious consideration about going that route. I really am. But what they want to do is they want to ban assault rifles is the main thing. A complete ban on assault rifles. Right now anybody can get an assault rifle, even if you're 18. So you turn 18, you have to wait on a pistol, But an assault rifle or any type of rifle, you can just go and get that and walk right out the store with it right away. There's no waiting period for that, not really, in most states anyway. Okay. Now, some states you cannot get an assault rifle. California's one of them. You can't get an assault rifle. I think Hawaii is another one. You cannot buy an assault rifle. Period. So which works out well. Once again, California's death total is still pretty high, even with that ban. But they don't have but they're not having for a state as large as they are, for a state as popular as they are, they're not having the same problem with mass murder as a few other states are. And they may not be reporting it because, like I said, they have a lot of gang violence there, and a lot of times with the gangs, there are multiple people being shot, but for some reason it's not considered mass murder when it happens in a gang-related setting. I don't know why. It's just not. Okay, it's called people were shot and killed. That's how they report it. They don't say this. They don't say this guy and this guy. These two guys, they were mass murdered. Even though they drive up and they see 6 or 7 people on the streets, or 4 or 5 people doing, or it's not considered. They just don't consider that for whatever reason an issue. And I really don't know why. I don't want to say it because they might be people, minorities. Because every human life is valuable. Every human life makes a difference. So and for them, and a lot of those guys are pretty young. So it just seems like, when black and brown people are shooting and killing each other, they have a whole different name for it. They have a whole different tolerance for it. They have a whole, the urgency is not as high to prevent it. And that's another thing too with the, every criminal. And most people know how to get a gun. Even if you have a law banning whatever, banning guns, banning pistols, banning. There's someone you can get a gun from. I know I can find a gun if I really wanted one. Illegally. It's really not hard to do. You ask a couple of people. Oh yeah, go talk to someone. It's not hard to do. It really is not hard to do. So I'm not sure how well the people that really want guns will find guns. And that's just the bottom line. The people that really want guns will find guns. So I don't understand why they're talking about banning only assault rifles. And I understand why, because assault, you can spray, and you don't have to aim, you can just spray. I get that part. But there's no gun that's more deadlier than another gun, because they can all kill you. So what I would say is that, listen, we have to find out, and I mean it sincerely, when they keep talking about mental illness and all this side of stuff, and let me back up for a second. And one of the things that angers me is that when a white person does mass murder, they talk about mental illness. In other words, he must be crazy. A black man kills 3 or 4 people, he's a criminal. I don't understand the difference other than color. And and we have to look at it differently. We have to look at it in a way that makes sense. It's either an all or nothing thing. We can't look at it as it's a problem because, this young 18-year-old boy, he must have mental illness. He must be a problem. He must be, oh my goodness, let's find out what's wrong with him. And the parents are like, I don't know what happened. He seems all right this morning and blah, blah, blah. We didn't know he was going to kill 17 people. But then you look at his blog, you look at Facebook, you look everywhere on all of his media channels, and he's talking about killing people. But the parents didn't know. Now, a black kid, same age, same thing, same weapon, he does it. Well, obviously the parents are bad. Obviously, the parents don't know what to do. Obviously, he had no guidance, etc. Oh, my God. He's a threat. He's a menace to society. It makes no sense. The white kid, he's disturbed. The white kid has mental issues. The parents did the best they could. They just didn't see the signs because they love him so much. They thought they can just love him just love him until he got rid of those thoughts. The black kid, well, bad parenting. You know, he was probably always a criminal. You know, I wonder who else he killed that we don't know about. Um, you know, his parents must he probably from a broken family. You know, his mother can't handle him. He has no father. I mean, it really is like, I mean, that's the part that upsets me the most. You know, the kid in Uvalde, he killed all these children, and all they did was just walk up to him. He threw his gun down, and they just cuffed him. That's it. That's all they did to him. Now think about this: a black kid, same age, same everything. He turns around with a gun, with an AK. Do you really think he survives that? How this kid turned towards police with an AK after killing everybody and not get a scratch on him is beyond belief for me. It's beyond belief. Because every black person in America knew that if that had been a black kid, same everything, same parents have the same job, living in the same community, same everything, that kid, if he's holding an AK in his hand after they have to step over all those little tiny bodies, that boy is dead. They won't even take a chance with him. But this guy turns around, has the AK in his hand, he drops it, and he goes up, and he just stands there. They walk up to him and handcuff him, and that's all they do, and put him in the back of the car. They pick up his weapon. You know, it was unbelievable. The whole thing in Uvalde was unbelievable because I can't believe the police didn't act like didn't act on that. That is just I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, and always and getting back to Congress though, the question that Congress and others will have is and the NRA people and the people that are for gun control, people that are against it. The question they keep having is: do weapons kill people? Do guns kill people, or do people kill people? How would you answer that? How would you answer? Do guns kill people, or do people kill people? You know, well, guns kill people when people grab the guns and turn it and point and pull the trigger, because the gun is only made for one reason: to kill people, to kill someone or something, whether it's an animal, whether it's a person. Okay, the only reason that they make a pistol is to kill a person. That's the only reason why a pistol is made, is to kill a person. The pistol's not made so they can go and shoot an elephant, shoot a bear, shoot a deer. Okay, that's a rifle. The pistol is the only gun that's made. The only purpose is to kill people. The AKA is the rapid fire weapons. They're made to kill people. So I understand where they're coming from as far as let's ban the assault rifle, et cetera. Let's let's not make it so that it can spray people, et cetera. You know, one bullet at a time. But the AK is not. You know, the rapid fire weapons. They're not used. They're not for killing animals. They're for killing people. They're for being in certain places where you have multiple combatants coming against you, and you can just spray and shoot them. Okay, and those are people that are coming at you, and where they're fighting for their country, and you're fighting for your country most of the time. You know, okay, so there can be other circumstances where they're used as well. You know, rifles are basically used to kill. You know, single-shot rifles are basically used to kill animals. Okay, but rapid fire weapons, pistols, those are used to kill people. They're made to kill people. You know, no one's bringing that part up there. So what do you believe in? Do you believe that the weapons kill people, or do you believe that people kill people? Which side of the fence are you on? If you believe that people kill people, then that means you have to ban the people from getting the guns. You find a way to stop the people from getting the guns. If you believe that guns kill people, then you ban the gun. You stop the gun from getting to the person. It's a conundrum. It really is a conundrum. You know, it's a hard one to figure out. But at the same time, you're guided by the Second Amendment. And the Second Amendment says you have the right to bear arms. Okay? And my right to bear arms is to stop you from hurting me and my family. That's what that means. Okay? It doesn't mean you're going to be part of a militia or anything like that, even though it talks about a militia, because I think originally they were talking about the people being part of a militia, because back in the day, everybody was a part of a militia so they could own a gun. Everybody. And plus they use the guns the guns to hunt with, things like that. But everybody was part of a militia. We don't have militias. We don't have organized legal militias. Well, we do have a few, but we don't have nearly as many as they did back in the day. Okay, you have other means to protect ourselves. We have other people that can protect us, other groups of people that can protect us. Police officers, to name one. So how bad is? So when you ask how bad is it? How bad are the guns? Just to let you know, okay, homicides, and just to let you know how we compare to other industrial countries. Okay, out of all the homicides in America, 79% of them are gun related. Okay, and that could mean suicide, that could mean an accident, that could mean murder. Okay, but 79% of all homicides in the United States are gun related. Now the next one will be Canada. With Canada, 37% of all homicides are gun related. 37%. Okay, ours is twice theirs, and then it drops down to Australia, which is 13%, and then England, which is 4%. I mean, I was telling you about England earlier. They don't allow guns or anything like that. So you can't even buy a gun in England. So you have to bring it from outside of England in order to use that gun, and theirs is 4%. So as far as as far as banning the guns, it's not going to happen. There's not the will to do it. No one wants to challenge the Constitution. The interpretation of the Constitution has been very firm. You have the right to bear arms, and that's the one part that everybody brings in. You have the right to bear arms. They say, well, that's what it says, right to bear arms, and that's partly true. But but once again, they talk about it in terms of a militia. They don't talk about it in terms of an individual. But once again, nobody wants to challenge that. Nobody wants to challenge that. And I get it. But when we have children that are dying, we have, and not just in what's on the media, in all parts of the country, children and innocent people are being shot. Not necessarily in mass. Not necessarily in mass. But we have to find a way to slow that down. We can't stop it, but we got to find a way to slow that down. And we have to find the will to do it, and we don't have the will to do it yet. We haven't had the will to do it in 40 plus years. And because we talked about this for 40 plus years. I mean, this is a subject I didn't want to talk about, but it happened but Buffalo, New York, and Uvalde, Texas happened within 10 days apart. 10 days apart. I mean, how does that? I don't understand how that can happen. I don't understand. 10 days apart and 1,800 miles apart. I don't know. All I know is that people are dead because some idiot decided that he wanted to kill people. How do you stop an idiot? How do you stop me? Because if a guy's determined to shoot you, that's what he's going to do. I don't know how you stop that. And I got to tell you, man, you may laugh if you want to, but Trump's idea of getting people that already know about guns, that can already handle guns, and having them as teachers, and then having them go through some additional training on a regular basis so they know how to respond and how to use a gun is not a bad. For me, it wasn't a bad idea. But that's not what you heard. You did not hear that from the media. The media said he wants to arm teachers. That wasn't quite true. That wasn't quite true. They said it in a way that made him look stupid. And then all of a sudden now there are more children that are dead. At least he tried to do something. Barack did nothing. Biden will not do anything except get on the TV and say, somebody do something, when he's the somebody that needs to do something. It's very difficult to stop, or very difficult to initiate gun control when you don't have any leadership in the White House or in Washington, or the will to get it done. Having to say it is nice. That's cute. But we need someone there that can actually do something, because I'm tired of children dying, and I know you are too. All of my kids are grown, but I have grandkids. I don't want them going to school and having to worry about whether someone's going to come in and decide to shoot them. And that's been on my mind for the last week or so, and which is why I'm doing. I changed my podcast to decide to talk about this. You have kids. Some of you may have grandkids like I do. But there is no reason for innocent children to be shot in a place where they are supposed to be safe. We have to do a better job of getting them safe. We have to do a better job of protecting them, and we're not doing a good job. I saw on the media. I saw some show, some morning show. I can't remember what it was, where they had this expert, and she was saying that having security in the school will do nothing. What do you mean by that? How do you not? How is it that the urban centers in Detroit and Philly and other places can have security in the school, and they're armed security? They're not just guys walking around that's supposed to be tough. These are armed security guards, okay? And they make a difference. In order to get in, you got to go past the guards. Because why? Because they have there's like one or two entrances that you can get in and out of. They can't lock them all because that would be a fire code hazard. But they have 1, 2, or 3 entrances that you can get in and out of. Whereas other schools, every single door is unlocked. You can walk in whenever you feel like it, willy-nilly. I'm just not understanding the reasoning. I'm not understanding why we haven't been more aggressive about this. And quite frankly, I'm disappointed. But I'm not surprised, because your president, Jim Crow Joe, y'all put him in there. He hadn't done nothing. He's not going to do anything. And all the ideas that Trump had, he just gets rid of them. Like they're stupid ideas. And he can't. And now he can't go back to that. He can't go back to the idea, because there were some pretty good ideas that he had, and there's nothing he can do about it. So for me, I gotta tell you, it's disappointing. And to hear this guy get on TV saying somebody do something is unbelievably crazy to me, when he's the somebody that should be doing something. But listen, I'm going to hope that your children and your grandchildren are safe from this point on. Protect them to the best of your ability. Listen to what they say. If they're on social media, take a peek every once in a while. But in the meantime, stay safe and protect the children. And at this particular point, I'm going to sign off by saying thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I know I kind of went on a little bit there. It's not the most fun subject to talk about. It really isn't. Not when children are dying. It's not the most, but I thought I needed to bring it up and needed to talk about it. Thanks for coming to the podcast. Let Me Say Something with Powered by Virginia. I appreciate y'all. This is the HNIC signing off. Y'all be good now, okay? Stay blessed. Bye-bye.
Powered by Virginia Radio.